Alright, what's going on, guys? We've got some news to cover. Some pretty recent news regarding Sonic Frontiers, obviously, and specifically regarding Kronos Island, Rhea Island, and Oranos Island. And a little bit more, but those are the main things that we are covering today. I'm making this video, I'm just pulling it out of my ass, basically. I'm just trying to get this video done because I am busy at the moment. So sorry if I seem like all over the place or something like that. But I want to get this video out because I want to talk about this news that we got this morning. So this morning, or not this morning, but yesterday, a Twitter account by the name of Sonic Series Fan asked Kishimoto, basically, why were Kronos, Rhea, and Oranos Island split up in the final version of Sonic Frontiers? Obviously, if you're a Sonic fan and you followed the news and like the leaks and stuff like that, you would know that Oranos Island, Rhea Island, and Kronos Island, they were all supposed to be just one huge island. Just one huge place for Sonic to run around and explore. But in the final version of the game, that got cut. Kronos Island was its own thing, and then we got Rhea and Oranos Island. And for the most part, a lot of fans didn't really like that. A lot of fans didn't like how Kronos Island was split into those 3 sections of the game. So, Sonic Series Fan here, he asked Kishimoto, basically on Twitter, he added him, he said, why is this the way it is? You know, why did you guys decide to split up this island into 3 parts? And Moria Kishimoto, the director of Sonic Frontiers, answered this morning. This morning at pretty early, but this morning, May 11th, he decided to answer this guy on Twitter, and we've got a series of tweets here to read, so I'm just going to read it for you guys real quick, just give my general thoughts on what I think about it, and yeah, let's not waste any more time, let's get straight into it. So the first tweet that Moria Kishimoto sends to this guy is, "Hello, as you might guess, Kronos was originally an island. When we did playtest in the early stages of production, we received a lot of feedback from testers saying that the island was too big and that it was boring. All the time grass and boring." Alright, so I think that the translator kind of screws up Kishimoto's words here a little bit. I don't think he was trying to say boring, all the time grass, and boring. It kind of gets wonky here at the end, but we can piece together what he was trying to say, right? He was trying to say that the playtesters responded to the beta version of the game, and they said that the grassy environment got too repetitive, it got too boring, it got too stale. And right now I'm trying to envision in my brain, right? I'm trying to envision like a timeline where Kronos Island, Rhea Island, and Oranos Island are all one island in the final version of the game. And after reading this tweet here, I actually kind of get where Moria Kishimoto and the playtesters are coming from. I do think, right, because you gotta consider the fact that Kronos Island, Rhea Island, and Oranos Island are pretty big islands on their own. Like, already on their own, like, Oranos Island is a pretty huge island. It's got a ton of land to cover. And just imagining Oranos Island combined with not only Kronos but Rhea, that seems like an overwhelming amount of land to cover. And it does seem like the environment and the surroundings of the grass and stuff would get pretty boring. It does seem like that would get pretty boring and stale after a while. I don't want to run around covering all this land for hours and hours and hours just looking at the same set piece over and over again. So I kind of get where Moria Kishimoto and the playtesters are coming from with this feedback. Let's go check out some of the other responses that Kishimoto had for us. Alright, and then right here, Kishimoto says that various modifications and ideas were incorporated to solve this problem, but one of them was to make the island smaller and move to the next island before getting tired of the scenery of the first island to play, and enjoy the scenery. I decided to divide Kronos Island into parts so that players wouldn't get bored with the look of it, not just the gameplay. Alright, so this is actually a very good reason as to why he decided to split the islands. He basically is saying here that players would have gotten too bored if they stayed in the grassy environment for too long amount of time, so he decided to make the island smaller so that they would be a little bit easier to digest. I actually really understand where Moria Kishimoto is coming from with this response, and it actually makes sense. This actually makes sense as to why they decided to, you know, split up all the islands into 3 parts, or not all the islands. I don't know why I said all the islands. Just Kronos Island. That explains why he just wanted to divide Kronos Island into 3 parts. So yeah, not really much to say here. I kind of agree where he's coming from. I get where he's coming from, and it actually makes sense. And I actually, you know, agree with him. I actually think that if we got a game where Kronos Island was, you know, Kronos, Rhea, and Uranus just put together, I think that island would get very boring. It would get very stale, and a lot of players would get turned off by the game after a few hours, just because there's so much land to cover, and there's like not really any unique environments or anything like that. It's the same set piece. So I get where he's coming from here. Let's move on to the next tweet that he has for us. Alright, and then with this next tweet, he says that with these fixes, we were able to get a positive evaluation in the next playtest, and it becomes the current shape of where the island becomes wider as you go further. Alright, so not really much to say here. I mean, all he's saying is that with these changes, players saw the islands more positively. They didn't think it got boring or stale. They think it was just the right amount of I guess open worldness, if that's not even a word, but like open worldness. And like I said, I honestly think at the end of the day, even though it is a little bit of a downgrade, I guess you could say, I do think that splitting Kronos Island into 3 parts was probably for the best, just for like the players in general, because I do think a lot of like first-time players will probably get turned off by the game within a few hours and never play it again if Kronos Island was as big as it is. So yeah, not really much to add on with this tweet. I agree where he's coming from here. Alright, and then the last tweet that I have here from Moria Kishimoto, I'm not sure if he's tweeted out more on his Twitter regarding this topic. This is just the end of the thread that I have, and I'm not gonna dig around his Twitter or anything like that. But this is the last tweet of like this response thread that he made to a Sonic series fan. So we're gonna go over it real quick here. Alright, so Moria Kishimoto here says, however, as everyone has pointed out here, I also agree that the climax of Uranus Island, which is the largest island, lacks excitement and becomes repetitive. We are currently working on an update for this issue as well. Okay, so this tweet right here is definitely the juiciest tweet. This is definitely the tweet that that's going to catch a lot of eyes. So Moria Kishimoto basically confirms here that they are working on a fix to the ending of Uranus Island, aka the ending of Frontiers. And that is wild. That is wild. If you guys don't know, every Sonic fan should know by now, but if you guys don't know, I'm not sure exactly when, but I think a couple months ago, there was someone on Twitter, and they basically put out like this entire tweet of how they could improve the Supreme boss fight. And they basically just like they just put out an entire tweet of how they can improve the boss fight, like give it more health, give it better attacks, you know, give it better animations and stuff like that. I'm not gonna go and find the tweet. I don't even know what Twitter account it was, but there was a Twitter account a couple months ago basically saying, hey, this is how the Supreme boss fight cannot be shit. And Moria Kishimoto actually responded to that tweet, and he basically said, thanks for the feedback. I'll try to do the best I can with fixing this boss. And everyone got excited. It wasn't confirmation. All he said was that he was going to try and fix it, but it wasn't like a confirmed, yes, we are fixing the boss fight. So, but with this tweet right here, he basically, he confirms it, because he says, we are currently working on an update for the issue for the Uranus Island ending. And that is huge. That is huge news. That is huge news to drop on just Twitter. To just drop on your personal Twitter. You are changing the ending to this game. Now, when they say changing the ending, when he says fixing the ending, I don't think he means he's going to like I don't think they're gonna fiddle with the plot of the game, right? I don't think the game's gonna play out probably the exact same, you know. Sonic fights Supreme, and then after fighting Supreme, him and Sage go to space to fight the End, and then they fight the End, and then Sage, you know, quote unquote dies, and then Sonic flies back down, and you know they live happily ever after. So I don't think they're gonna tamper with the actual plot, but it's kind of a guarantee that they're going to fix the Supreme boss fight, right? They're fixing the Supreme boss fight. They're going to make it a better boss fight, you know? Hopefully, when they fix it, hopefully they give it more health. Hopefully they give it more unique attacks. Hopefully they give it, you know, more unique animations and stuff like that, more unique QTEs. And, you know, if they do well enough with this fix, Supreme could finally be considered, like, a good Titan fight. Because, you know, he could be up there with the Gigantos and the Wyverns and the Knights, because a lot of Sonic fans just consider the Supreme boss fight to be pretty mediocre, pretty bad, and all the other Titan boss fights really, really, really good. And I would say the same thing. All the other Titan fights, Giganto, Wyvern, Knight, really, really good Titan fights, really good boss fights. But Supreme, nah. I don't fuck with Supreme. but anyway, yeah. But it turns out they're going to fix Supreme. They're going to fix Supreme. Hopefully it's a good fix, and hopefully we can consider him, you know, a good Titan fight by the end of the fix. Now, as for the End, I don't know if they're going to change the End boss fight. I mean, maybe. Maybe they can fix it. I'm not really sure how. I mean, maybe they make it so Supersonic, like, actually has, like, a boss fight with the End in space, like a Titan boss fight almost. Even though it's not a Titan, but you get what I mean. I'm not really sure how they would have it, like Supersonic fighting the moon in space. I'm not sure how they would do it. Maybe they could give it a try. Maybe they could try and make it work. I just don't see how they could change the End boss fight in any way that's like a little tweak. If they were going to change the End boss fight, it would have to be a pretty drastic change. But I don't know. Maybe they will drastically change the End boss fight. Who knows? But that is huge news. That is actually really, really, really huge news. Just casually dropping it on a Thursday morning on your personal Twitter. But yeah, that's all I wanted to cover today. I just wanted to cover a little bit of news that we got. Positive news. I'm so happy that SEGA and Sonic Team are at this point. I'm so glad that this is the version of SEGA and Sonic Team that we have now. You guys remember in 2017 when SEGA and Sonic Team, I should just say SEGA. Sonic Team doesn't really have anything to do with it. But SEGA tried to charge, I'm not sure how much, but they tried to charge players like $4, $5, something like that, to get Supersonic in Sonic Frontiers. You guys remember that? Where they tried to charge their fans to play as Supersonic in a mainline Sonic game? You guys remember that? In any other mainline Sonic game, you could just unlock Supersonic for free. But in Sonic Forces, they wanted you to pay to play as Supersonic. And that is just bullshit. I shouldn't have to pay to play as Supersonic. You know, Supersonic should be a free thing I should be able to unlock in the game. And it just, like, back in 2017, SEGA was just a really bad company, just really greedy. They didn't really appreciate their fans all that much. But I really, really appreciate now that SEGA is more in tune with the fans. They're giving the fans what they want. They're not charging us, like, shitty DLC. You know, they're giving us DLC, pretty major DLC for free instead of making us pay for something that's, you know, should be free. I just like this version of SEGA. I like this version of SEGA where they're more transparent with the fans. They're giving the fans what they want, you know. They know what the fans want, and they're giving the fans what they want, you know. They're giving us free DLC. They're giving us constant updates. When we complain about something, they take the criticism into account, and they actually, you know, take action. There's a lot of companies that just see criticism and don't give two shits and just, you know, swipe it to the side and just don't care. But it seems like SEGA here are actually, you know, they're listening to their fans. They're listening to their fans. They're listening to the feedback, and they're taking action. They're not just, you know, they're not just seeing the feedback and then just turning a blind eye. No, they are looking at the feedback and they're listening and they're taking action, and I love it. this is fantastic, Sega. Don't change. Don't change. Stay transparent like this with your fans, and your fans will love you. But start making more shitty moves, like paying for bad DLC and stuff like that, and making mediocre games that blatantly false advertises, characters in the game. I'm, hinting at Sonic Forces. I'm not gonna get into that whole like Sonic Forces deal, but if you know, basically. But at the end of the day, right, I'm going on a tangent. This version of Sega, thumbs up. Thumbs up. 2017 Sega, thumbs down. 2023 Sega, thumbs up. You got it? You got it. Alright, guys. That's all I wanted to cover today. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll catch you all later. I am out. Peace.